Hi, and welcome to our LinkedIn Advanced Training. It's great to have you here. I'm Julia Weil, and I work in the social media and digital communications team at ThyssenKrupp AG. So before we start, I would like to remind you about our LinkedIn Basic Training, as it lays the foundation for this course. In our Basic Training, we cover essential aspects like how to register on the network, how to create a profile, and also give you useful tips for publishing your first post. Whether you're personally interested or you know someone who might benefit, please feel free to explore our WeNet page. But keep in mind that the tips and impulses presented serve you as assistance and orientation points. It is completely up to you whether and how you are active on LinkedIn. Now let's delve into today's topic, LinkedIn Advanced Training. During this session, I will provide you with a brief overview of how to maintain your profile and how to build a network. I will also give you tips on what content you can communicate in which ways, how to measure the success of your posts, and what to consider legally. Finally, we will put our newfound knowledge into practice. Let's start with maintaining your LinkedIn profile. Why is this even important? Well, in today's interconnected business world, it's quite common for current and prospective business partners, customers, and suppliers to gather information about you through your LinkedIn profile. Think of it as your digital business card. Therefore, you should make sure that all information is always up to date. It's best to treat it like a professional resume that you would attach to a job application. I will also show you a few tips and tricks that go way beyond mere updates. So, did you know that you can create your profile in other languages, for example English or Spanish? This can help members from other regions of the world, such as our colleagues in America or Brazil, to find you more easily in the network. And that's basically one of the reasons you're active on LinkedIn. To add more languages to your profile, open it and click on Add Profile in another language in the upper right quarter. Additionally, you have the possibility to add a personal touch to the URL of your profile. And that's very easy. Simply click on Edit Public Profile and URL, also located in the upper right corner. Your customized URL can be 3 to 100 characters long. It's best to use a variation of your name. Here, in our example, it is Michael Weber. This change has several advantages. Other users can find you better, your search engine ranking improves, and your profile also looks much more professional. Another effective way to enhance your LinkedIn profile is by optimizing your slogan. This is where you can really showcase your core strength and skills. This is the part of your profile that appears at the top right under your name and picture. You can see part of the slogan highlighted here on screen. The slogan is visible to everyone when you comment, share, or post on LinkedIn. Your slogan can be up to 220 characters long. Feel free to use this space to describe yourself, your work, and also your interests. Let me show you a few examples that illustrate what you should include in your slogan. First, you should include your current job title, like Laura did in our example. If you want to, you can also state that you work at ThyssenKrupp. To make your job easier to understand for others, you can include a few keywords that describe your task at work. Vanessa here did this very well in her slogan. In addition, you can also include other information or emojis, for example, like Caro did here. Now, let's continue with your info text. You create your info text via Add Profile section. Select Add About for this purpose. Now you can provide a more detailed description of who you are and what you do in 2,600 characters. That's more than 10 times as many characters as you have available in the slogan. The first 3 lines of the info text are especially important. These are displayed to other members when they click on your profile. Your info text should serve as a compelling invitation for people to engage with your profile and connect with you. So present yourself personally. It's best to talk about yourself, your activities, and your convictions in the first person. Again, it makes sense to include keywords that are linked to your profession and/or your industry. To identify these relevant keywords, consider seeking inspiration from connections within your network. Lastly, your info text should end with a call to action. This brings you closer to your goal of connecting with people on LinkedIn. Now let's take a look at the section about your skills. You might already know this from the basic training. You can add skills via the button Add Profile section and then Add Skills. LinkedIn offers a pre-selection. Just browse what suits you and your job. You can add up to 50 skills. But that is just the first step. Your profile will look more professional if these are validated by your contacts. You can activate this function by scrolling down to the skills section on your profile and clicking on the 3 dots. Here you can activate that other people can confirm your skills. To get your skills confirmed, you can ask other users such as current and former colleagues or superiors via Add Skills. The more people confirm your skills, the more meaningful your profile becomes. A little tip: if you confirm skills from other people from your network first, they will certainly be happy to do the same for you. You select the desired person for this and, in the next step, state how do you know each other and what position you held at this time. Finally, you ask for the recommendation in a personal message. Now that your profile is optimized, let's take a look at your network and networking in general. The most obvious way to do this is, of course, with colleagues from your immediate environment or people you met at trade fairs and events. But there are other possibilities as well. Before I give you some more insights, one thing is important. It's not about having the most contacts, it's about the quality of your connections. After all, what's the point if you have a lot of contacts, but the interaction with your post is low and you can't get any real added value for yourself from your activity? Therefore, it is better to build up your network gradually, but with contacts who engage with your content. A good way to meet new people is through hashtags that they use in their profile. In order for you to be found by others, it is also important that you use hashtags in your profile. The search is very easy. Enter a hashtag relevant to you in the mask and filter for people. But what are relevant hashtags for me? These can be from the corporate context, such as ThyssenKrupp, hashtag GenerationTK, or engineering. Or you can use hashtags for relevant topics such as sustainability, digitization, or artificial intelligence. The third option are hashtags related to your industry, like mobility or green hydrogen. In a quiet minute, just think about hashtags that could be relevant for you and your network. For inspiration, you can also look at what hashtags are used in the posts on our ThyssenKrupp corporate channel. Another option to search for new contacts are groups. You can find them easily via the search mask and then filtered by groups. Member lists, for example, are a great place to look for interesting contacts. The same applies to posts. Here you can see who writes interesting and good posts or is active under the posts and comments. I've brought 5 groups here with me from different industries as examples. There are dozens of groups on LinkedIn. Whether you're searching by hashtags or browsing through groups, you'll encounter plenty of options. Have you found someone exciting? Then get in touch and network with the person. That way, you can gradually build up your own network. Our next chapter is about what you can communicate in your posts. It centers on 2 key questions. How can you establish your position on a specific topic, and which topics should you be associated with by other users? This is the essence of LinkedIn. The platform provides you with the opportunity to be recognized as an expert in your chosen field. For this to succeed, it is helpful if you think about which topic or topics you would like to comment on. But keep in mind, less is more. Focus on the topics for which you are an expert instead of posting on many different topics. This way, you create a real value and can establish yourself as a specialist on LinkedIn. Now you're probably wondering, how do I find suitable topics to talk about on LinkedIn? And how do I even know which topics suit me? At this point, we come back to your personality and your profession. Talk about the topics that occupy you and which you know. It's always easier to write about what you deal with every day at work than about things on which your knowledge is limited. The question about which topics suit you can be answered quite simply. It is the content that you identify with. that occupies you and about which you can say a lot and, above all, something with substance. But what could really interest your target group? This means the people who read your posts, like, comment and share them. Think about it. What challenges and topics are you currently facing in your area of expertise at ThyssenKrupp? How can you put them in a broader context that also appeals to people from outside your field or from other organizations? It is important to be perceived as an expert on a particular topic. For this, you should build your contributions around a thematic focus. Attempting to cover a broad spectrum of topics like sustainability, digitization, and innovation simultaneously may not be feasible, nor does it allow for in-depth exploration. Instead, you should opt for a focused theme and connect it to other key areas within your industry. For instance, consider sustainability. Explore its role in the automotive sector or delve into the innovative solutions ThyssenKrupp is developing to promote sustainability in businesses. You can further enhance your positioning by selecting a particular aspect within a broader theme. Within the realm of sustainability, e-mobility could be an excellent choice. The key is to select a topic that you're genuinely passionate about, as this will make it considerably easier for you to articulate and communicate effectively. No matter which topics you choose, the most important thing is be yourself and be authentic. But we know that sometimes, despite careful consideration, you just can't find the right topic. You may encounter many different questions every day, but you may have a hard time finding possible hooks for your post. We would like to give you some tips on where you can find possible topics for your posts. One source of inspiration is your own LinkedIn network. Regularly check your feed, this means your start page, to see what topics are being discussed by other people in your network and get inspired. Users from your industry are sure to talk about one or two things that are also interesting for you, about which you also have valuable information and can contribute your opinion. You also have the possibility to react via the comment function and thus increase your visibility and reach. You can also pick up a topic and write your own post about it. See which posts are commented on most often. This is a content that is particularly well received in your community. But keep in mind that you should use the post of other users only as an inspiration for your own post. Choose a different starting point for your post and set a different focus. You should not duplicate content, which in this context means not only the same content, but also content that is very similar. You wouldn't either want to see your post on someone else's profile. Therefore, bring in your own personal, unique perspective. This way, you also create real added value. Additionally, you have the opportunity to post about events in which you participate. These can be internal workshops, external trade fairs, or presentations by experts. Here, you also have the opportunity to take great photos. Also, look for national, regional, and industry-specific media that can be an inspiration for your posts on LinkedIn. Another way to find potential topics is information you receive through ThyssenKrupp's various internal channels. These include our newsletters, the We Plus, WeNet, the We2Go app, press releases, as well as local notices or events taking place in your department. If you use information from these sources for a post, please make sure that it is always content that is allowed to communicate externally. If you are unsure, please ask the responsible colleagues in our communications department. In addition, the stories section on our website thyssenkrupp.com is full of good ideas. Blog posts on various topics are published there regularly, from sustainability, digitalization, engineering and innovation to automotive and new mobility. Articles about your ThyssenKrupp colleagues and our work culture are also published here. Take a look at the stories if you're looking for a new topic. Get inspired and think about what content you could use for your next outstanding LinkedIn post. However, a good topic for your post is unfortunately no guarantee that your post will be a success. The format is also important. After all, we know it from ourselves. If a text is well written, we like to read it. And we also interact more. And that is our goal. And that is why I will give you a few tips and tricks to make your posts more appealing. Before you start writing, determine how you can best convey your topic. There are various formats to choose from. The classic ones you already know from our basic training. The most popular, the photo post. But of course, you can also do it without a picture. However, this is not as successful. The post tends to be overlooked in the crowded newsfeed. Then there's the video post. Seen a good post from one of your contacts or a company? Share it with your own thoughts. On here, we see the article. For those occasions when you have more extensive thoughts to share on a particular topic, the article format can be an excellent choice. It provides space for a deeper exploration of your subject matter. In addition to these classic formats, LinkedIn offers you other options that I'd like to show you. Posts with pictures are usually well received. Do you have more than one picture that is suitable? Then use the gallery option. And on a side note, here's another tip. It's best to use at least 3 photos, otherwise the display is not optimal. The carousel goes in a similar direction. With this, you can publish a PDF file as a document post. The individual slides are displayed one after the other in the order you specify. The carousels are particularly suitable for preparing the content of an article with a suspense curve. To get feedback on an issue from your community, for example, you can create a poll. You can specify up to 4 answer options and then let your network vote. Are you working in HR or currently have a job opening on your team? If so, you should consider sharing a link to the job advertisement. There might be individuals within your network who are keenly interested. Add 2 to 3 sentences as a description explaining why prospective candidates should consider applying and becoming part of your team. However, if the position has been filled and is no longer available, it's advisable to remove your posts. Even months later, LinkedIn may resurface your post in the user's feed, leading to clicks on the link that ultimately lead to nowhere. This scenario can create a less than ideal candidate experience, which we'd like to avoid. You have now found the right post format for your topic? That's great! Then it's time to write your text. I have a few tips and tricks up my sleeve to help make your text more engaging. One of them is related to the topic. Establish a relationship to a current topic. This way, even complex or supposedly abstract topics are close to real-life experiences and thus become relevant. For example, Karina shows the actuality of her topic directly in the first sentence. With the steel industry having such a critical impact on the abatement of global warming, it was a great opportunity to discuss pressing issues with experts from the sector. You can also create a connection to the reality of life by sharing your experiences. But always remember, LinkedIn is a social network. If you report on personal impressions, adventures and experiences, as Dilara did on her visit to her colleagues in Hungary, you will attract attention and sympathy. Those were 2 rather general tips. Now let's dive in a little deeper and get more specific. So think not only about your post, but also about your profile in general. How do you want to address your network? A formal address or a rather informal one? To be honest, we don't have a clear recommendation for you here. Use the tone of voice you feel more comfortable with, but it's important to be consistent. Whether on your profile, this means in the info text, in your posts or in your messages. Being consistent shows professionalism and creates trust. If it suits you and your personality, you can also use humor selectively. This loosens up some topics, but of course it should fit to the theme and be appropriate. Please also keep in mind, in written text it is sometimes difficult to recognize and understand irony and sarcasm because we cannot fall back on facial expressions and gestures. An example of well-used humor we see here in the post from ThyssenKrupp. With a wink, a comparison is drawn here between the temperature of the company's hollow sections and firing up the barbecue. LinkedIn offers you maximum of 3,000 characters for your text. Use this space to tell a good story, but you don't have to use the space to the full. It's better to finish when your text is round, even if you still have characters left. Your post will compete with other posts in your network's feed for attention. The first 3 lines of text are therefore crucial. Do I continue reading this post and click on more, or do I keep scrolling? Your text introduction has a big impact. Therefore, start, for example, with a good thesis or a pointed statement. This makes people pause and click on more. On the topic of the We Care Days, for example, Marian began with a question addressed directly to his network. What is so special about today? Do you know it? This certainly evokes a reaction from many people directly. Now let's move from the beginning to the end of the text. At the end of your post, you can use a call to action. This could be a question that fits your topic or a link to find out more about the topic. For example, the blog story that served as your inspiration. With a call to action, you encourage comments and a discussion. The positive effects of this? You increase the reach of the post, and perhaps you gain new, exciting contacts who will take notice of you. In his post, Mike writes about one bold investment in digital upskilling. At the end, he addresses the readers directly and asks for their opinion on the subject and the implications in the future. If your call to action was successful, hopefully you'll get a comment or 2 under your post. My personal tip? Respond to them. On the one hand, it's polite, and on the other hand, you can exchange ideas with others on your topic and get new perspectives. Another advantage? LinkedIn rates your activity positively and positions your post better, so you get even more reach. Of course, sometimes you may also receive a critical comment. Here it is important to remain friendly and objective. Your answer does not always have to be detailed. Sometimes a thank you is enough. A good way to get into the networks of others is to tag users. You can do this where it makes sense and with people who you know would like to be linked. For example, you can position colleagues as experts or draw their attention to a post in the comments. You tag people or even companies by putting an ad in front of their name. After these tips, which refer more to the content, we will now look at some linguistic aspects that you should also pay attention to in your posts. We all know them. Filler words that unnecessarily inflate a text. When you have finished writing your text, scan it for filler words and delete them consistently. A list of typical filler words that your text definitely doesn't need can be found in the handout linked in WeNet. When you delete filler words, the advantage is that your sentences automatically become shorter. That's good because nobody likes to read long sentences. They contain a lot of information at once. This makes it difficult to read and understand the sentence. Your sentence consists of 10 to 15 words. It's best to make it 2 sentences. You can also recognize long sentences by insertions and many commas. Gerunds also make it difficult to read the sentence. Gerunds are the conversion of a verb into a noun and end with an ing. It's best to scan your text here too. Where is it really needed, and where it might be better to use an adjective or a verb. This will also make your text much more lively. Liveliness is a good hint. Passive constructions are also counterproductive, but they like to sneak in from time to time. Therefore, take a look at the signal words, where in your text are forms of to be in front of a verb that ends with ed. Maybe you can formulate the sentence actively? My last tip is one of the most obvious. Spelling. After you're done, check your text again for mistakes. These creep in with everyone. To check your text, you can also use tools like word spelling. Simply read your text 1 to 2 times in silence and preferably aloud. If you like, you can also proofread it later. Then you have a fresh look at it. Or you can ask a colleague to take a look. Because we all know 4 eyes see more than 2. But even if you notice a mistake after publication, no problem. You can still change your text after publication. Caution: you cannot edit images after publication. If you make a mistake here, unfortunately, you have to delete the post in the worst case and post it again. Now that you've gotten lots of tips and tricks on using LinkedIn and creating posts, you may be asking yourself, how do I actually know if this is all working and my posts are successful? For this, LinkedIn provides you with various data that is collected on your posts. With their help, you can measure the success of your post. To do this, go to Activity and then go to the Post section. Under each of your posts, you will find the field View Analytics. There you can see the most important key figures. And only you can see this. Let's go through the whole thing briefly. We start with your discovery. Here you can see the number of impressions. It tells you how many people have seen your post. Compare different posts to see which content has generated the most impressions. In this way, you can draw conclusions about which post work particularly well. In addition to the impressions, the engagements provide information about the performance of your posts. There you can see the number of reactions, comments and reposts. The more engagements you achieve with a post, the better it is displayed by LinkedIn. That means it will appear higher up in the new post that people in your network see as they scroll. This significantly increases the success of your post as it increases the number of impressions. Additionally, the top demographics of unique viewers about the people who have seen your post is very interesting. This way, you can see which professional groups in which industries have seen your post. Furthermore, you see how large the companies are and in which places your posting is particularly well received. Now you can see if you reached your target group. Now the question is, how do I increase the reach and number of interactions on my post? We have a few simple tips to help you do that. Network with new people on a regular basis. The larger your network is, the more people will see your posts. Therefore, it makes sense to maintain your network regularly, add new contacts, and accept contact requests if they are interesting and relevant to you. But be careful, a large network only helps if you maintain it. It is better to have 300 valuable contacts that you maintain than 1,000 that you have no contact with. Second, content is king. Publish relevant content on a regular basis, because LinkedIn plays out posts with high engagement more often, which in turn increases reach. But quality is crucial, not quantity. Post regularly, but not too frequently if it makes your content worse. One high-quality post a month is better than 4 to 5 posts that aren't interesting to your network. Like, comment and share posts that you like. When people in your network recognize that you interact with their posts, it increases the likelihood that they will interact with your posts as well. And fourth, use hashtags on relevant topics and tag appropriate profiles. And finally, be mindful of what's happening in your network. You can also draw conclusions from the content of other users. Which posts are particularly popular in your network? Inspire yourself, but of course, without copying. Now let's take a short detour to consider the legal requirements on social media. I have summarized the most important things for you. First of all, we need to take a look at image rights. In the case of image rights, a distinction is made between the actual copyrights, such as the right to decide what happens to the images or the right to name, and the rights of use, such as the right to publish, the right to edit, and the exploitation rights. For a LinkedIn post, it is not possible to simply Google a photo and download it. The creator of the photo and the people in the photo determine whether and how the image can be used. But where can you find pictures that you can use for your posts? Well, the best thing to do is to take pictures yourself where no other people can be seen. Then you are the owner of the photo and you don't have to ask anyone for their permission. With people you know well, you can simply ask for their permission if they are in the picture. In addition, there are numerous image platforms on the internet, such as Pexels or Pixabay, which make images available for a fee or even free of charge that you can use under certain licensing conditions. You should read these license conditions carefully before using an image, as they regulate several crucial points. Where and to what extent must the copyright be acknowledged? May the image only be used for editorial purposes or also in the context of commercial offers? May the image be edited or must it be used as it is? Personal data may not be published on LinkedIn if it's internal or you know this data because of your work at ThyssenKrupp. For example, you work as an HR business partner and therefore know how much Jane Smith earns and where she lives. You are not allowed to publish such information on LinkedIn. Applications may not be sent, forwarded or accepted via LinkedIn. Please use Talent Link instead. No negative comments should be made in general. In particular, please do not comment negatively on our customers, suppliers, business partners, investors, competitors or employees. This goes without saying in respectful social interaction. We only mention it here for the sake of completeness. Please also be careful to not surreptitiously advertise other companies, especially in your pictures. This goes without saying, but we say it anyway. Business secrets and internal information are not allowed to be divulged. This includes, for example, budgets, internal processes, or the current status of projects, but also other things such as your personal ID or the identification of your PC. Pay attention to your surroundings here, especially with pictures. For our ThyssenKrupp brand, please follow the guidelines you find in our brand factory. This applies to our logo, the colors, and the typography. This means the font. The guidelines also apply if you create your own graphics, e.g. via Canva, in which the brand appears. To apply what we've learned, let's now write a post from a colleague's perspective about attending this training and its content. So, the format I choose is a photo post. For online events, I wouldn't take a MS Teams screenshot, but rather a selfie with my PC. After that, think about a catchy opening. Here, I would start with a question. Am I even made to be active on LinkedIn? For example. For the main part, it's good if you can make a reference and talk about your own experience. Also, make sure you use short sentences and don't pile up gerunds and passive formulations. To do this, you can tag people and use hashtags. We always write hashtag GenerationTK in capital letters and with a hashtag in front of it. That's why you can already find it in the text. Other hashtags could be ThyssenKrupp, Brand Ambassador, and LinkedIn. This way, interested people can find the post directly via the hashtags that match the content. It's best to end your post with a call to action. For example, what's your opinion? Is LinkedIn only for young colleagues or for everyone? This also relates to the entry point. Now we could publish our post. So in this training you have, hopefully, learned a lot of helpful tips and tricks about LinkedIn. My last tip for today? Let's start and exchange ideas about the job. Do you still have any questions? Feel free to contact Alma, Michelle, Stefan or me at any time. You can also find all important information, links and the handout on the WeNet page. Thank you very much for your attention and have fun on LinkedIn.